As you probably know, Warren and Griffin recently moved to a new location in downtown Chattanooga. It was a feat, but they're loving their new space on Carter Street. In fact, they love it so much, they've added a new location, this one in Cleveland, making it easier for them to serve their clients in Bradley County and the north end of Hamilton County. So C. Mark Warren is here, shockingly wearing his orange. Fred Cleland here is here as well. You're going to be heading up the Cleveland location.
That's
is that
true.
right?
It's at 440 Stewart Road in Cleveland, which is just on the other side of Paul Huff Parkway, not far from the Walmart there.
It makes a lot of sense because community is everything, right?
Well,
And the people want local, and Cleveland and downtown Chattanooga are not exactly close.
Well, you know, law firms opening up new law offices is kind of a different marketing plan than other lawyers. You know, usually they just put up billboards. We've always found it very important to put down roots, be in the community. We can do everything that the billboard lawyers can do without a law office. That is, you can sign us up and we can do everything from the comfort of your couch. But if you want to actually come see us and meet your lawyer and shake our hands and talk about our cases, in your case, face to face, we think it's very important to have a local law office.
Okay, Fred, let's talk a little bit about the cases. Because you are personal injury,
Yes.
but that can look like lots of things, not just a car accident or a
no.
work-related injury.
Right. Now, mostly they are car accidents, and the things that you need is a lawyer who does more than just that. So you'll have the workers' compensation type cases. You'll have people that fall at a grocery store or get injured on the steps at a place, and those are significant injuries also. So we try and handle all those type of cases. And to be frank, what Mark and I talk about too is, even if it isn't a personal injury case, you ought to call our firm. We know all the lawyers in town. We will refer them to someone that you can trust. And that is something that I feel is an important aspect of being one of the local lawyers that you can actually meet.
You know, and Fred brings up a good point, because we have been in the community for 35 years, and we do know lawyers, and we're into building relationships with our clients. It's not a one-off when you hire Warren and Griffin. You know, the majority of 85% of our clients is word of mouth.
Right.
You know, we don't spend as much money on advertising on TV. I'm sorry, as other
I'm not
law
offended.
firms. We don't spend as much money on billboards as the big out-of-town billboard lawyers, because we don't have to. We've been around providing the same quality 5-star services for 35 years. And the benefit, like Fred brought up, of a relationship like that is, if someone needs a bankruptcy lawyer, a divorce lawyer, a real estate lawyer, constantly we take phone calls wanting referrals about where they can go. We want us to be the foundation of their legal needs, and they call us for everything. If we can't help them, we'll get them to a lawyer that can.
Okay, you were talking about spending money, kind of your advertising
Right.
budget, if you will. Talk about the client's money for a minute, because sometimes people can get jaded and they think, you know, I'd love to maybe talk to an attorney, but they're going to take it all anyway if I win anything.
Well, you know, and lawyers bill 3 ways. You know, they bill per project, you know, a flat fee. Usually that's a criminal defense. A DUI lawyer might charge you $2,500 for a DUI. You have insurance defense lawyers, where Fred came from. You know, Fred used to work for the dark side for many years. You
20
know,
year I did
20 years.
the opposite of what I do
okay,
now.
I think that's a significant place to pause, because ultimately what you want to do, what your client wants you to do, is win.
Absolutely.
So you can't win
Well, first
necessarily
off,
if you don't know how the other person thinks and you know how the other
we
side
don't
thinks.
get paid unless we win.
Correct.
So that's the most, and my wife enjoys it when I get paid. And so it's good to have an asset like Fred on the team that's been behind the scenes for 20 years. Now, Fred used to bill by the hour. How was that? Was that enjoyable?
It is not enjoyable.
Yeah. You know, so, you know, he brings his expertise and his insight on the cases that we currently have.
Okay, but what's going to happen in your new Cleveland office is that whether in person or on the phone, someone's going to call and they're going to say, hey, do I have a case? And you may get 10 phone calls in a day, and 8 of those you may say, yep, I think you got something here, and 2 of them you might say, no, you don't.
That's true.
Right?
But we want to be able to talk to those people
Right.
in order so that they can understand why they do not have a case or why they would.
Right.
One of the issues that we run into all the time are when people say, I've fallen at a grocery store. Well, we need to understand what's the liability of that happening.
Right.
people have a perception of just the fact that they fell somewhere, well, that must be somebody else's fault.
Right.
There's way more to it than that, and that's one of the things that we do to investigate into those things, to understand what are the aspects of the liability, the potential liability.
Well, I think that's kind of a relevant thing to talk about. We don't do it very often, but here you are now with the new Cleveland office. You want to be in the community. Also in the community are local business owners, and so you don't want to unfairly say,
100%.
oh, there's a case here.
Right.
And I think that's important to point out.
But back to attorney fees, as a personal injury lawyer, we charge contingencies fees. You know, our fee is contingent upon being successful in your case. We charge 1/3. Most cases we charge, our average fee is 28%. Okay, because we charge 25% too on the case that there's some situations where, well, we cut our fee. We reduced our fee because we have never, 35 years being a lawyer, I believe in karma, and we have never taken an attorney fee more than the client actually pockets. So if that means reducing our attorney fee to make our client happier, we'll do that. Now these billboard lawyers are charging 45%.
You do the math, yeah.
You do the math. You know, we get phone calls all the time from people that have hired the wrong law firm, and they're saying, you know, why am I getting $8,000 out of a $50,000 settlement?
Right.
Well, the reason is, you know, first off the top is 45%. Those billboards are expensive. And instead of, you know, putting down roots and having a business and having a place where employees can work and pay taxes and buy groceries, they put up billboards. And they, you know, and they just, they're not in it for the relationship like we are.
Fred, let me ask you this, since you used to work for the insurance company, is there anything that people should know with their, like, let's take a car insurance situation for a minute. If you have a car accident and both parties are insured, can you rest easy knowing that the person who hit you has insurance, or is that still going to be a fight?
No. Unfortunately, I would say that one of the things that I will tell people is you ought to have enough coverage yourself. Most people go, well, I'm fully covered. I always tell the story. My mother, when I first started practice law, I said to my mother, what is your coverage? And she goes, well, I'm fully covered, Fred. I've got all the insurance I need. And then I found out she had the state minimum coverage. She had $15,000 worth of damage on a vehicle. So if she had hurt a vehicle, she damaged a vehicle, she would have, that's a BMW or Cadillac, she would have been out of pocket on that. But she thought she was fully covered. So I tell people, you need to get your own insurance, because my understanding is around 25% of people do not have car insurance.
Well, so
you need to have your own uninsured motorist coverage. And I always tell people you need to have $100,000 or more. Well,
here's how you can get fully covered, is you can write down the number and the location of their new Cleveland office. Warren and Griffin, now also on Stewart Road in Cleveland, 265-4878, warrenandgriffin.com. So Cleveland, and now on Carter Street in Chattanooga. They got you covered fully. We're back after this.
Go Vols.